Welcome to the HelloPrenup podcast. We are so happy to have you guys here. Tell me your names.
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm from Northern California. I'm a stylist, a photo stylist.
I'm her husband, BJ. I'm 35. I'm from Northern California as well. I grew up in San Francisco. I am an actor.
How did the two of you meet?
We met on set, actually. She is a stylist, a really good one, and I happened to be the model on set that day. We exchange Instagrams like the kids do.
Yeah.
And what was your first impression of him?
Crazy cute. It was so funny because, you know, you're dressing another grown person, an adult. And so I was like touching him and I was like, oh man, this guy's really cute. Keep it together, be cool, be professional. But then he also turned out to be super sweet and we just like chatted all day on set. It was a blast. Yeah.
And tell us about your first date.
We were talking about that this morning. I think so. Neither of us live in Hollywood, but we came to Hollywood for some reason and we went and got dumplings and then we rode scooters around. We just talked and
we're big foodies.
Yeah.
We're big foodies. And so we really, came in the middle there. We're like, okay, like what should we eat? She had just moved to LA and I had been here for a few years already.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, you want to eat? I got all the spots.
Very true.
And I was like, what do you like? Oh, all the same things as me? Perfect. Let's go get dumplings. And it was a really good dumpling spot. And we were kind of close by, so we ended up getting one of those scooters. And then we just mobbed down Hollywood Boulevard.
Which is very dangerous. We should not have done that.
Well, we were safe. We were in our,
We were spring
the lane
chickens too. We were
supposed
like
to be.
30 at that point. And then we just like yapped and yapped and yapped all night long. It was really cool.
And that was
It
our
was
first
sweet.
date.
This is so
Yeah.
sweet. I love it.
Mhm.
How did you know that you were with the one? What was that moment like?
Man. I mean, I think I was super hopeful because everything was going really great. I was like, this is really great. And then like a little over a year later, it was the pandemic and everything was terrible.
Yeah.
But he was like, you should move in. Like everything is terrible. And I was like, yes, please. And so he like single-handedly moved me out of my apartment into his, well, I was just a wreck and like couldn't manage anything. And I was like, oh wow, that's really special. Like I'm used to taking care of everything. And he was like, I'm gonna take care of you and just like give you a home. It was really amazing. And I was like, okay, he's the best. He's mine. He has to be.
This is so sweet. And what was that moment like for you, BJ?
And then, like, shortly after that, we, like, just went through an entire pandemic after she moved in. And I was like, we're living together. And, there were some ups and downs, as, most couples had during the pandemic. And, some unfortunately didn't make it, some made it. And we felt like we were really good at weathering those ups and downs because, there were some moments where there were a lot of questions. We had a lot of questions about, what's next or what are we doing financially? Like what's happening? And so we ended up getting on the same page for a lot of those things and it made us really close, or it brought us a lot closer.
Yeah.
Actually. And, I feel like it wasn't just, one moment, it was this collection of moments throughout that time that brought us closer. And it almost felt like, what's the other option here than to just keep pushing together?
Yeah, if we can get through a pandemic, we should probably like see all the other things that we can do together.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And who popped the question?
So we're talking about this. So I'm a year older than BJ. And so after we moved in together into that first house, we had like a roommate. It was literally survival. And we were like, we should live just us now, like as soon as possible, please.
Mhm.
And so then we moved to another place. And everything was even better then. And I was like, so listen, we should get married, right? And he was like, yeah, probably, right? And because we both knew we like wanted to have kids, we wanted a family. And I was like, how old was I at that point? 34? 35? I think 34. But I was like, we should start thinking about these things. Just like planting the bug, like no stress, like, but let's talk about it.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I want that too. And I don't know how sly I was about it, but I was like, these are rings that look great. I was like, do it this what you will. And he was like, okay. And then, yeah, I just let him, like, we left it there. And then towards the end of the year, then he proposed.
We went out to dinner in
Hollywood.
in Hollywood in December, and we were eating, and I think we were on like one of our last courses, and she was like, I've been waiting for you to pop the question.
I was already mad at him. I was like, this is getting ridiculous.
I was like, I know, I was like, I know. And then, dessert came, and it was funny because there was, like, we were eating dessert, and I knew they had put the ring in our dessert.
He brought the ring in a Ziploc bag and handed it to the kitchen.
That's how I had to transport it, because the box was so big.
I can't.
So I was like, I can't fit this in my person. So, yeah, and so I gave it to them. I was like, can we put the ring? And I don't want to be too cliche, but I like this idea. And so they brought it out, and there was this little dish under the dessert. So we went through the dessert, and then it was like this hard thing. We're like, what is that? And I was like, in my head, I was like, it's under this little dish. And we kept eating. I was like, you should move the little dish. Just kind of get it out of the way. She's like, all right. But she didn't move the dish.
Well, first it was like a little ramekin, and it was brown, and I was like, ooh, it's a chocolate shell. So I'm like whacking at it with my spoon, and he was like, oh my gosh.
I was like, I don't.
What is she doing?
Yeah, I don't think it
And
is.
then I was like, oh, I guess it's not chocolate. Oh well, like moving on. And he was like, kept trying to get me to go back to the dish. And I was like, what is it with you in this dish?
I was like, move the dish.
And I was like, BJ, what with this dish? And then he like flips it over, and there's like the most perfect ring ever. And then he stands up, and I start sobbing, and he says all the sweet things and asks me to marry him.
And the manager and all the staff were acting like they were doing things out on the patio. And, yeah, it was cool. It was special.
Great. And then they all came out and cheered, and it was perfect.
That's amazing.
Good job, BJ.
I know.
And who proposed the prenup?
I don't know.
I think we had talked about it before.
A really good friend of ours has a podcast specifically for women. It's like financial literacy for women. And she had, maybe it was an entire episode about HelloPrenup. And then she herself got one. So she was, and they got married just maybe a year before us. So she was talking to us about it. She was like, I don't know if this would interest you at all, but I use this service, HelloPrenup, and it was super simple. It was really helpful. It started these really great financial conversations between the two of us. Like, check it out. I have like a discount code. I think she even had a discount code for us. So we were like, absolutely, we'll look at it. And then I think we looked at it, and then I went back to her and I was like, so you did it and you felt like it was worth it? And she was like, absolutely, just for like peace of mind, like I would recommend it. And we kind of trust her with our lives, especially financial stuff.
Did you guys have a lot of conversations about money before discussing your prenup?
I think we probably first started discussing money around the pandemic when we were trying to figure out our new financial life. Both of us are freelance, so I stopped working completely. I had to go on unemployment. I think you were still working a little bit, but it was still just like a whole figuring out. So that's when we first started talking about it. HelloPrenup helped us initiate a lot of other financial conversations that we still, how we deal with finances now is we have monthly, sometimes bi-monthly, like family finance meetings.
Ooh.
And that really started back then, I think, with when we were starting with HelloPrenup. And yeah, I mean, it helps so much now.
Mhm.
We like get really into them. We like sit down with our computers and we're like, we pay bills and we input our paychecks, and it's really fun. But I think it probably started around that time when we were figuring out how to merge our finances and what that would look like in a marriage.
Yeah, I think the pandemic really had a big effect on how we communicate about our finances and the conversations that we have surrounding finances, because things were really fluid and changing around then, and new jobs and unemployment, and
Yeah.
they were honestly just conversations in general that we would have. It's like, what's some of the biggest things that are happening in your life right now? It's, well, my finances are being really weird.
Yeah.
How about you? Mine are too. And so I think those conversations started changing a little bit and turning into, our finances.
Yeah.
What were some of the goals for your prenup? What were you ultimately looking to accomplish?
For me personally, I know a ton of people who, especially friends of mine that got married super early, that are now divorced, and even a couple friends right now who are going through divorces. It just seems like they're having a super hard time. And, with heartbreak and emotions and, anything that you can do to make it a little bit easier or simpler of a process. I guess it's never going to be an easy process, but like, hopefully we'll be together forever and ever and ever. But I don't know, just seeing a lot of my friends struggle through these sorts of things, like already having the enormous emotional piece of this, and then having to deal with, oh, but we own a house, or like these cards, like what do we do with these things, or joint bank accounts. I was just like, if there's an easy way to at least give myself a little help through that part of that awful process that hopefully we don't have to go through, I was like, I just don't see any reason not to.
Did HelloPrenup help you have any conversations that you felt were life planning, life goals?
Absolutely. HelloPrenup helped us, start having these financial conversations that I think we didn't even know that we needed to have. It was probably the first time that we thought of like our financial future and our financial future as like a unit. And it was actually really bonding the way like we would, I think it took us maybe a couple days, like a couple hours, and we would just like, again, grab our laptops, plop down on the couch and go through these questions together. And I remember one of the things it helped us decide was, are we going to have 2 accounts or 1 joint account, things like that I don't think we had thought of yet, but I'm glad we talked about. I mean, luckily we were on the same page for sure about what we wanted, but I can't think of another time that would have organically come up, like, hey, let's sit down and talk about our financial, and this kind of made us do that in a way that wasn't like me approaching him or him approaching me, like, we need to talk about this. It was like, let's together plan how this is going to work. And it was like, it was nice and organic in that way.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
And did you consider using attorneys for your prenup or any other prenup source outside of HelloPrenup?
I don't think we did, actually.
Yeah, no.
I think once we learned about HelloPrenup and then kind of started digging in, it was like it almost started moving along by itself. I know there were some moments within using HelloPrenup where we thought about going to an attorney to help us with that experience, but before HelloPrenup, I don't think we thought about it, actually.
And did you add on attorneys to your prenup through the platform?
Well, yeah, I think that's what he was referring to. At
Yeah.
one point, we got hung up on spousal support, and we were like, is either of us going to make enough to support the other? And then, but then there was that little, I think there were videos where you could click
Yes.
on it and have an attorney
The
explain it to you. We were like,
videos really
okay.
helped. The explanations
yeah,
were,
those helped a ton.
they were great.
So I think that was the only time, because it was like, if you'd like to do something besides this, California is great, and they really want you to support your spouse if you don't stay together, which I think is brilliant. But if we were to opt out of that, it said you needed an attorney, and we were like, I think I'm good with this. We don't need an attorney.
That's great.
If you could describe HelloPrenup to someone, how would you describe it?
It's almost like taking a course as well with your spouse, like an online course. And there's a lot of really cool learning experiences throughout it that make the process a lot less daunting.
Yes.
Because prenup is one of those words that, that has the stigma around it. And it's kind of like, whoa, prenup? You want one of those? It means you don't love me.
Right.
Whereas this, it's like, we could just look at it, learn about it with this friendly user interface and learn about each other a little bit. And yeah, so I guess long story short, it's a bit like a cool online course.
I like that.
What would you say to someone who said prenups are only for gold diggers?
Neither of us.
Did a rapper say that?
Neither of us are gold diggers or have any gold to be dug.
What are you digging for?
Yeah, there's no gold.
That's not true, first of all.
Yeah. And hopefully you never really need to use it.
Yeah. There's a lot of different situations that you'll find yourself that couples have. We had our own finances before, and we all have our own finances until we join forces, and this is just one of those things that helps facilitate that joining of forces.
What would you say to somebody who says, I'm scared to get a prenup?
It was not scary at all. I mean, yeah, at least our experience, it wasn't scary at all. If anything, it was, just like he said, it was kind of bonding, and it was an opportunity for us to spend time with each other and chat about our future. No part of it felt scary, even though we knew we were signing legal documents, I guess. But I think also HelloPrenup, in the way that things were explained to us. Like at first, I was like, I wouldn't know the first thing about a prenup or like legal speak in this realm. But we found that we did understand everything. And then, it just never felt scary. It felt pretty user-friendly and like easygoing. Yeah. And just like us sitting on the couch chatting.
If HelloPrenup didn't exist, what would you have done? Would you go to, tell me a little bit about that.
If HelloPrenup didn't exist, I think we would have looked into some other option. And I think that one of the reasons why we decided to go with a prenup at all was because, and the way we structured ours was that everything within our marriage, we really do feel like we both own and we've earned together as this unit. But he had school loans and I didn't. And I think, we're down to pay them off together for sure if we stay together. But if we don't, he was like, you shouldn't have to pay off my school loans. And I was like, I agree. That's awesome. Thanks. So we did know, we were both very comfortable with the idea of a prenup in some sort of form. And so I think we would have tried to find one, and who knows how successful we would have been, because, we don't know a ton of lawyers. We didn't have a ton of money to throw at this. Mm-hmm. But I think we both did see the importance of one for us.
Can you talk a little bit about the financial part of that? So obviously attorneys can be expensive, and
Right.
you felt HelloPrenup was within your budget. So
Yeah.
can you expand on that a little bit?
How we came to HelloPrenup was through our friend, and she offered us a referral code. So I think we got either like $100 off, $50 off, something like that. So it was already affordable, and then it became like we would be silly not to do this. Whereas other prenups that we've heard of friends have were super expensive, and they did know attorneys, and that just wasn't really our reality.
Thank you.
What advice would you have for someone who wants to bring up the prenup conversation to their fiance, but they don't know how?
I would almost lead with HelloPrenup as an option to bring up the conversation. I think it's a really great learning experience, like I've said. And so, I would just tell my friends that learning about a prenup is actually a great alternative because it saves you the headache, the heartbreak that we've talked about, the extra baggage that might come with all this financial stuff. Because I know there's a lot of stats out there about couples and finances, and when they come to an end, and they do. I mean, obviously we all want a happy fairy tale ending, but in reality, a lot of times that's just not that doesn't happen, and so. It's very important to at least talk about it and learn about it. And there's options out there to learn about it. And HelloPrenup allows you to just simply look and learn in a nice, light way.
Is there anything else that we haven't asked you that you're really excited to talk about?
One of my favorite parts of the HelloPrenup process was I love talking about things. I love processing things. And it turned out we did have different experiences with money. We had different approaches to money. Mm-hmm. And that was definitely something we had to talk about at some point. And sitting down with HelloPrenup before, we were just engaged, we were newly engaged and not really there yet, or like, but why not? We should have been, we should be. And it initiated all these really great combos where we realized that we have different approaches to money and we should work together to get on a more streamlined path. And I think that was really helpful. And then again, it wasn't me approaching him and being like, we need to talk about finances, or him sitting me down and being like, you shouldn't spend this way. It was brought to us and in a really not stressful way. From that, now we have a really, really open and honest line of communication about our finances. We talk about everything. We know all about all of our credit cards, all of our accounts, our retirements, everything is open, wide open. And it really started, I didn't know how it was going to start, how we were going to get there. And this really helped us very organically, very naturally, just blow those doors open. Okay, we talk about this now. And it's been amazing.
We asked Haley and BJ to play the HelloPrenup couple questions game. Here were their responses.
Do you want to ask first, or do you want me to ask first?
I could ask first.
Okay.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
That's so hard. It has nothing to do with HelloPrenup. I want to be able to breathe underwater or fly, something like that.
What?
What do you mean?
That's
of course.
like two.
Can I? Okay.
Pick one.
Maybe flying.
Okay.
Really?
Why?
Because it's awesome. What's on your bucket list that you haven't told me about yet?
Did I tell you I wanted to visit all of the major sports arenas and stadiums?
You have.
I did. So you do know about that one. Okay. What about, I want to knock out at least 50 countries before I turn 50.
I love that. Very doable.
Yeah. I never told you about that one.
No, that's a good one. Okay, your turn.
What was your favorite part of our wedding day?
Is it terrible if it's not about you?
That's fine. That's totally fine. That'd be crazy, but...
Okay, never mind.
No, go. What was it?
No. Okay. So I really liked your vows were really, really amazing. I shouldn't have ever doubted, but they were so stunning. It almost felt like a poem about me. It was beautiful. Really blown away. I think we all were.
Poet.
Okay. Do you trust the way I handle finances?
Do I trust the way you handle? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're great. I learned a lot about my finances with being with you, which is great. I trust you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're killing it. You're pretty good at the finance thing. What's one money move you'd like to make during our marriage?
I want us both to retire early. I want us to just rock our retirement accounts, like work really hard and max out our Roths and really set ourselves up for an early and fun retirement whenever we decide.
Early and fun retirement.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
What is your favorite thing that I do for you?
The first thing that comes to mind is make me laugh, actually.
Aw.
Not because you try to be funny, though. Just because you're just funny,
Okay.
even when you're not trying.
That's good, I guess.
Yeah. Laughter heals all. What's on your bucket list that you haven't told me about yet?
I don't know. I think travel, just like you, just like yours. I love the idea of 50 countries before 50. I think we could totally do that. And I want to be one of those families that, yes, we have kids, but we still travel and we do all the fun things.
Mm-hmm.
There's just also kids there.
Kids.
Finish the sentence. I'm going to make more of an effort to
Be fiscally responsible.
Great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Oh, man.
Throwing the zingers at you.
I mean, we've already started this guy a 529 account. I want to teach him to be financially brilliant. I want him to retire early, but I also want him to live big and boldly and have an exciting and adventurous life. And I think it'd be awesome if we could lead by example.
Okay. What do you love most about me?
I love so many things about you. We have the most fun together, whether we're like traveling around the world or we're at home giggling on the couch or playing in the garden. You're very, very easy to be with, very easy to have a great time with. The way that we balance each other out is so lovely. I think we both complement each other in such a nice way that hanging out with you is effortless and just so fun, always. Oh my gosh, did I just get the same one? Okay, yeah. What do you love most about me?
Wow, I want to say a lot of the same things, actually.
okay.
What do I love most about you is that it's hard to make about you versus us, because I feel like we're really good at making each other laugh, and being around each other is just too easy. Okay, here we go. I love that you're passionate. I love that you're passionate and you're relentless in fighting for what you love. And having you on my team as someone like that is like that's one of the most, if not the most important thing I feel like I need on my team. That passion is, I don't think I've ever seen it like that in anyone else. So your passion is what I love most about you. You're fiery. You're fiery.
Oh, thanks.
It's amazing. Thank you, guys. I think that was perfect.
Yeah.